Hey y'all, Shane Sams here with another episode of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Jumping in real quick to do a little introduction of today's guest. I wanted to tell you her story. That I've known Kareem for a long time. I tell her story almost everywhere I go because it is just so amazing, so inspirational of what's possible when you have a dream. And I wanted to introduce you to Kareem just before we bring her on. She is a powerful thought leader, voice, woman, just a ball of energy. You are going to leave this podcast today with more energy than you walked in because of Karina. We had a great conversation about just how her life has changed since she joined Flip Lifestyle, since she started her online business, and she's really built that life of freedom that we're all after, that flipped lifestyle in her life and the life of her family and her kids. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about her before she came on the show. Karim Morato came to this country as an immigrant from Guatemala. She didn't even speak English when she got here. Came here with nothing but a suitcase in her hand. She told me once that she learned how to speak English working at Kmart. If you guys remember Kmart, it's like Walmart but with a K, right? And she came here. She started learning reading labels, talking to customers, and she started learning English. And she had a dream that she would come to America and she would be a Spanish teacher. She'd be able to go into high schools and teach kids Spanish every single day. Goes to college, becomes a Spanish teacher, wants to go to the next level. So she tries to get her master's degree. And then she realized something. There was a ceiling on her income. She would never be able to earn more than a certain amount. And she wasn't going to be able to live more and live the life that she wanted to build. So she went to her professor and she was like, "Hey, I got an idea. I want to just do my own business. I want to go start a business and teach curriculum to people out in the world. I want to teach homeschool kids Spanish. I want to build something that could scale. I want to earn more. I want to live more. I want to live a better life." And her professor was like, "No, you're lucky you've gotten this far with your background. I'll teach you how to do Spanish. I'll teach you how to do curriculum, but this entrepreneur stuff, I don't know if it's going to be for you." And thank goodness our guest today did not listen to that professor, didn't listen to the naysayers, didn't listen to the people holding her back. She went online and she started typing in, I'm a teacher. I want to start an online business. I want to do something. And she found our story, Shane and Jocelyn Sams from flippedlifestyle.com. She didn't know anything about online business. She didn't know what we were all about. She was just like, these seem like real people that will talk to me and help me figure out how to do this stuff. And she took the leap. She joined the Flipped Lifestyle community. And she came in from ground zero, y'all. She came in from ground zero. She didn't even know you could build a website. She thought only big companies could have a website. And we watched her over the next few years build an incredible business where she teaches Spanish to homeschool kids and homeschool co-ops. She helps bilingual kids become bilingual, learn Spanish and English fluently, back and forth together. She's become a thought leader in not only the Spanish and bilingual space, but in the homeschool space as well. And she's built an incredible business that is giving her the life that she wants. It's putting her kids through college. She's paying off her retirement home right now. And her story is just a remarkable journey of someone who had every obstacle, every opportunity to be afraid, every insecurity you could ever have. And she fought through the challenges in the Flip Lifestyle community, and she built a lifestyle that now her family gets to enjoy. And she is featured in my new book, Earn More, Live More: How to Make Money Online and Build a Life of Freedom for you and your family. And we wanted to bring her on the show to celebrate the book and to celebrate her success and to inspire you and show you what's possible so you can go and do the same. So right now, I want you to enjoy this incredible interview with one of the most remarkable human beings I have ever met, Karim Morato. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Great to be back with you another episode. And in this series, we are interviewing people who are in my new book, Earn More, Live More: How to Make Money Online and Build a Life of Freedom. These are amazing stories from the Flipped Lifestyle community of people who have went through the program and built amazing things and have just evolved into epic entrepreneurs out there, throwing their stone into the waters and causing many ripples out in the world. And we have one of our most favorite human beings on the planet on the podcast today, Karim Morato. Karim, how are you doing?
Hola, hola. How are you? So excited to be here. And listen, I am still in the program. I'm still there.
Yes, you are. You were literally posting in the forums. I was checking them yesterday, and I was answering some questions and welcoming some new members. And I was like, "Hey, there's Kareem. What's she doing?" You were like sharing some resources with somebody who was looking for language stuff or something like that. And
Yes.
you are the go-to person on that as well.
Y'all, I'm here again.
Jocelyn's here.
I'm so happy. So, lately I have been trying to come on more things. And when I saw that it was going to be Kareem today, I just moved my schedule around to make sure that I could be here.
Did.
So
she did.
I'm very, very excited to be here and to get an update from you.
Yeah. Jocelyn had some Jocelyn likes to go get her nails done. She likes to. Can I tell your secrets? I can't tell all your secrets.
I mean, I have to get some Botox now and
then. You got to get some Botox now and then.
I'm not getting any younger.
She's trying to get me to do the Brotox, but I've not injected the blowfish poison in my head yet.
Look at those fine lines and wrinkles.
Look at these.
You two look so good. I told you should become models now.
No. Not at all. Not at all. But Jocelyn had like a spot of her Botox that wasn't working, and she's like, I got to go get this fixed. But first, I got to talk to Kareem. so Jocelyn's afternoon is going to be Botoxing it up.
So I chose you over Botox. So
gracias.
Let's do a quick recap here. I'll do an intro later, but also I just want you to tell, like in your words, just basically your journey. Just the brief synopsis of where you're from, how you found Flipped Lifestyle, and then about your business that you've built from that. And we'll start from there.
Yes. So I came to this country in 1991. So I started my life over, and I learned English, put myself through college. It took me 10 years to finish college, but I did it. And I reached my dream. My dream was to become a Spanish teacher in the public school. That was my dream. And when I became a teacher, I felt like I reached my full potential. Until I started having kids and, got married, had kids, and I realized, oh, wow, it has to be a better way. How can I be more at home and have the life that I want, because it was not working? And I remember that I started this journey, and, for me, they told me, my parents always say, well, education answers all your questions. So guess what? I went back to school, got my master's degree to teach online, because I was like, I'm going to teach online and all my problems are going to be solved. So I was working on my second year in my master's degree. I was learning how to teach online, how to create curriculum online. And then in my second year, and I told my husband, believe me, this is going to solve our problems. We are going to make more money. I'm going to be more home. And guess what? I realized I could not find a job teaching online. The public schools were not teaching online. Colleges were not teaching online. And only companies, IT companies, were, they were offering online teaching, and they were paying like $25 an hour. And they gave you like more than 200 students.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot to keep up with. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I need to change this plan, because my husband is going to die when I tell him that there is no job after I finish my master's degree. So I went back to my professor and say, listen, I am not going back to public school because they don't have an online job for me. And I don't want to teach for a private company. So I decided that I have this great idea. I am a homeschool mom. I'm a Spanish teacher. So I want to, offer curriculum online for homeschoolers. And he looked at me like I was crazy. And he's like, well, listen, I will teach you how to create online curriculum, but I won't teach you how to sell it. I have no idea what you're talking about. So then I started my journey.
Can I ask you a question? Like this part of the story fascinates me, because what we find often in the entrepreneur journey is there's a setback, or there's an obstacle, or there's a fear or mindset or insecurity that kind of creeps in. And you've been on the podcast before, and I've heard you tell this story before. Like I loved it when you first told it to us on that little mastermind workshop thing that we did one time. And like how did you feel when he was like, this is crazy, I don't know how you can sell that? Like, did it make you mad to keep going, or did you feel like, okay, I'm doing this?
I noticed that when somebody tells me no, for me, it's like, yes, I will prove you that I can do it. So I went there and say, I just knew that I needed, well, remember, I have the pressure that I told my husband that, getting all these loans for my for my master's degree, I was in trouble. So I was not just mad, but I was desperate to find a solution.
I have been the spouse in that exact situation. Hey, Jocelyn, we'll quit our jobs. Everything will be fine. The money's just going to keep rolling in.
We have minimal savings.
Do you need, who needs savings? Right? I mean, you always say this
So overrated.
Trust me, babe, this is all going to work just fine. And then
well, to his credit, it did.
To his credit, it did work out. It did work out. But there's been there were some shaky moments in the beginning where I was like, but listen, man.
I was typing online business, selling online, teachers online. I was doing all of that. So I got Pat Flynn's podcast on my browser because I didn't have a phone. So I didn't listen to the podcast in the phone. And I remember listening to your story in his podcast. And I was like, this is the answer. This is the solution. What is that flip? I don't even understand because, English is my second language. Flip your life. I could not even understand what that meant. But all I was like, I'm joining. Click. How can I join? Have my money. I entered the membership and you guys were doing masterminds. I had no clue what a mastermind was. Like, I'm joining the mastermind. So I was just clicking and buying desperate because I needed a solution. And
you know what's funny is I remember in that part. I do remember the first time that we talked. I remember. I don't remember every question that everyone's ever asked me because it's been a long time. But I do remember you. Like it was like a hot seat or something in the community, and you were like, we were like, hey, the first thing you got to do is you need a website, you need an online presence, and you were, and I don't remember exactly how you said it, but I do distinctly remember this. You were like, people can have their own websites. I thought only companies could have websites. I thought McDonald's could have a website.
I gotta tell you my second question. My second question was, how do you name a website? How do people get names? And
so this is ground zero starting out right here, people. Yes, this is ground zero.
Okay, you want to know what's the most embarrassing part is that in the mastermind, Brooke Castillo was there with us.
Yes, and she was. Oh my gosh, she was in that group. I do remember. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And here I was asking, what is a SEO? How do you pay? How people give you money online? What is PayPal? I mean, my questions were so basic. But I so appreciate that you guys treated me like it's okay.
Yes. It's like Karim Morato, Brooke Castillo, whoever's in the community, we're going to serve you well, baby.
Here's the thing. Like all of us, Brooke included, us included, we had those questions at one time too.
Yes.
So it's okay. Like sometimes we're just at different places in our journey, right?
And what's funny is like I remember that mastermind and work. Sometimes we do cohorts of specific topics. And like basically Brooke's question in that though, is amazing as Brooke is. And we've had her on my other show, the Shane Sam show, and talked about her story. But like honestly, she came into the community with this simple question is, do you think a membership would work for my business? Like that was her question in that workshop as well. And it was just like, how much do you think we should charge for it? Here's my goal. So these fundamental questions, we still have to ask them and talk about them every single month in our business.
And do you know what I think is, for me, the most delightful part of this is because I love how you were like, I am determined to find a way to make money online. And like, you didn't even know you could have a website,
Yeah, you didn't even know. You barely could get online. You didn't even have a phone that got online, and you were still doing it.
Well, I love people like you who just have this like infectious optimism.
Yeah,
that's why I'm with this guy.
Actually, what I call it, Karim, and me, Karim, we do feel like souls that are very aligned. You know what I'm saying? Like I have preposterous optimism. That's what my friends tell me. Like you are preposterous, Shane. Like you are thinking way too big, way too visionary, and you just are too sure you can do this. But if you convince yourself you can't, you won't.
That's right. That's right. But I'll say he has a good track record.
I do have a good track record of
yes. But also listen, I think that you guys were what I wanted to be. Like you were teachers in Kentucky. I had no idea where Kentucky was, but I knew like you sound different like me. You have an accent.
Most people don't, Karim. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, listen, there's times I'm driving around the county and I have no idea where I am. So it's okay. Yeah.
So you guys were exactly what I needed. And you know what? I took action. Like I took action. All I knew is that you guys had the map and the attitude and you guys believe in me. And I do remember when I was in the member call, I don't know if you remember, when I sold my first membership,
I remember.
$25.
I remember.
And I cried when I saw those $25
I
entering
Aw.
cried when you sold
magic.
those $25. Like I
I
did.
I make more money than you. You did 10 cents. I did
10 cents. Oh,
$25.
that's like 2,500 times what I made my
Exactly.
first online
Exactly.
business. Yes.
Yes,
100%.
yes.
It's
So
incredible, man.
that was incredible. And but I will say that just like everything, it has a business has that messy middle where you are trying to figure out so many things in your own. I was a solopreneur and I was growing, but I could not scale because I did not have systems and processes because I am a big picture person. I am not a detail person.
Mm.
And then also my kids were becoming teenagers, and my husband, he's the visionary, the planner. He plans our lives 20 years ahead. And he's like, well, Karim, you are not tutoring because I used to, before I had my online business, I used to tutor. So I used to tutor, and I used to teach, and I used to homeschool. So I had three jobs. So I was so busy trying to do it all. So when I stopped tutoring, I stopped making good money. I did not have a life, but I just knew that online was the solution and the way to scale a business. But my husband was like, okay, he was nervous. He told me, well, you stop tutoring, you stop teaching. And now what is going to happen when the kids go to college? So he basically told me, because we were in a really tough situation, and that because I didn't have any income coming, and the income was enough, but for him was not to plan for college. And he was, what is going to happen? And I remember saying, okay, maybe going to have to give up my dream of building my business. So I
Mm.
remember that night I went in my computer, wrote your email, and say, thank you so much, Shane and Jocelyn. And I don't think I was expecting you to reply. It was almost like a symbol of me giving up my dream. And I say, thank you so much. You guys helped me so much. I appreciate, but I'm going to put my business in pause. And I remember the next thing I know is you reply. And I was like, reply. And I opened the email and it was like, no, you are not quitting. I know you were yelling at me because capital letters, exclamation points. And I was like, what happened here? You were yelling at me. You are not quitting. This is not the last. You're so close. You have to give a last fight. And I don't know, Shane, I was just so touched by that. I went back to my husband and I said, you have to give me 1 or 2 more years. And I promise I'm gonna make this work. I took
Mhm.
that, whatever that email, that reply gave me everything that I needed to say. I just gotta give him one more fight. And then COVID hit and I was ready.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, I love that. And what's funny is that we still read most of the messages that
Oh yeah,
come in,
that's a
and
very
like we
important thing.
still reply to them.
Yeah, yeah. I wrote someone yesterday, and someone wrote in about a new podcast that I've got, and they were like, she was like, I never write podcasters, but this podcast was just really so inspiring for me, and all this stuff. And I was, we were at a soccer game, and with Isaac, so I'm just checking my email during
When
that.
he wasn't on the field. It's like when our
Yeah.
kids aren't on the field, we do
Yeah, he's
other
not
stuff,
playing. I'm like, I'm kind of here, but yeah, go team. But I'm here for my kid. And but I wrote her back and I was like, hey, this is really Shane. Like, thank you so much for writing in. Like, because like I have bad days just like everybody, and I'd had like kind of a bad day. And I was just trying to like be present and watch
Well,
the
and I
game
think
and
you were
all
like,
that.
hey, I really needed this. Like, thank
Yeah,
you for
I was like, that was this message. I really needed it, just like you needed that podcast. So just thank you for doing that.
Wow.
And she wrote me back and she was like, oh my gosh, is this really Shane? No way. And I'm like, yeah, people, we don't get that many emails. We check them all. Let's go. Email us.
now we will get hundreds.
Now we will get hundreds.
But no, like it's good. We want that,
Yeah, like that's always been a core principle of our brand. And we have to create systems and have team and people to help us. But at the same time, like we're here to connect. Like this is what we did not have when we started out. We would email the experts and we'd get a VA or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we always
Exactly. No, it is just crazy how personable you guys are. And so that completely, COVID completely changed my business because I was not a COVID teacher. I was already an online teacher. I have everything ready. So I have this wave of students coming. And the next
And let's
thing,
talk about that real quick because I don't think we've explained it yet. Like, what is that business that was launched and grown during COVID? It would tell everybody what you do online with your Spanish curriculum and stuff like that.
so I help parents educate bilingual children, and I provide online curriculum K to 12. So I have an elementary program, and I also have a teen program for the ones that need to complete the language requirements. So that's what I do. Um,
Is that mostly homeschool kids, or is it like do you get
mm,
all kinds of kids in your program?
actually, this is what is happening right now. The ones also buying my program are co-ops, are group of
Mm,
kids that get together and they need an online program. So I have group like a micro school. Imagine like a micro school are using now my program. So it's growing my audience, and I have some parents that they feel like school is not enough and they are enriching their kids learning through my program. So
mm,
it's hard, but the majority is homeschoolers,
that's good.
but I am pretty sure the day I decide I want to expand, there is going to be more audience, because Spanish is for everyone.
Yes. Oh, for sure. And
Yeah.
I what I love, people always, the biggest question we get, and most people are like, well, what's my idea? Like, what skills, talents, gifts, knowledge, wisdom do I have that anybody would actually pay me for? And I think that like what's one of the most fascinating things about your story is like you came to this country and could not speak English. And your story literally is just I spoke Spanish, I learned English, and now I help bilingual children do that. Like that is
Exactly.
that's the most fundamental core being of who you are. It's just the languages you speak, and you turned that into an amazing business that's now equipping these kids to be bilingual in a bilingual country and go out and like that foundational thing of they can speak both languages is going to pay dividends for them in their whole life. Like that's a
Totally. Yeah.
huge ripple
And
effect.
can I just say, like, just for you, and also I have a friend who came over from Japan and knew zero English and learned from the ground. Like, what a brave thing to do, because
Oh my
I
gosh,
just
I
think
couldn't do
about
that.
somebody plopping me down in a country that I know none of the language, and
No.
I don't even know what I would do. I mean, like, when we go to Mexico, for instance, like, I know a little bit, un poquito, I still remember a little bit, but like, it's even difficult to communicate when they don't speak my language, you know?
I go to places in America that speak English and can't understand me. So let alone
True
if I
story.
had to go learn another language. Are you kidding me? Like that's ridiculous, right? Like
And
that's
so
amazing.
Yes.
that's your unfair advantage, you know? It's like you came over
Yes.
here, you did something so brave and so amazing, and now
E-
like you have this crazy unfair advantage that a lot of people don't have.
And I think people too like don't realize like you are not people say like there's no fear, just go do it. That's not true. Like this is
mm.
terrifying every single day to be an entrepreneur. I hate to break it to you guys, but it's terrifying all the time. And
Well, and that's also a skill. So being terrified to come into a country and not knowing any language, that translates to
right, that
entrepreneurship.
like you learned courage, and like everyone has had a moment in their life where they were courageous. And once you find that story, then you can build on that courage. Like if you're courageous once, you can do it again. If you can be courageous
Mm.
once, you can do it 101 times, right? And you built that courage and to like keep taking the risk. That's why when I wrote you, I was like, no, because like you had made it, your courage had brought you to the edge of success. And like that's the moment you can't turn back.
And I have a question for you guys, because you were like, you're so close. And I don't know how you could say that, because I felt so far from reaching my dream.
Yeah.
And you were like, you are so close. It's like, where I'm close. It's like I
Yeah.
felt so discouraged.
Do you ever
And
see that thing online? It's like a picture, and it's a person like digging. They have a pickaxe or whatever, and they're digging in a rock, and they're so close to like the diamond mine or whatever over here, and then they turn around and go back
Yeah.
because they're so close to like breaking through that wall and having that like huge cavern of diamonds.
We're kind of like the photographer that took that picture. We can see the whole thing because, like, I mean, we
mm,
literally see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of businesses. Like, over the last 12 years, like, we've seen probably thousands of business ideas, and we've seen hundreds of people succeed, and we've seen hundreds of people quit right at the
mm.
last
But I can,
second.
but I
You can
think
kind of see it from the outside in better than you can where you work.
we can almost tell though, it's not even really so much about your business idea. It's more about like the attitude that you have with bringing it forward into the world.
Oh yeah, the
Like,
person. Yeah,
yeah, if
what they're
you
doing.
have the right attitude about doing it, like we know that you're going to succeed. So for you, like it didn't necessarily matter what the exact business was or like what the long-term vision was or whatever. Like we were like, we believe in you and we want you to
Mm,
believe in you.
Yeah. We
wow.
saw you
And
that you were going to be
oh
successful
my
because you don't
gosh.
stop, and
Thank
we
you
didn't
so
want you to quit
much.
and give up on yourself.
And and that brings me to 2021. In 21, COVID hit. Um, my husband became a believer because he saw the income. He's like, "Whoa, you're not going nowhere."
Yeah, right.
So he believed in me finally. So husband took care of that. It's like, okay, my husband believes in what I'm doing because that was important to me. Like I wanted him to see my business not as a hobby, which he was being patient to be like, okay, when are you gonna stop your hobby? But then after COVID, he's like, okay, this is a business. He became a believer, and also the a legal firm approached me to be a consultant for them and asked me, hey, we want to reach the Hispanic audience and we want to let them know about homeschooling because Hispanics were desperate to know what other options of educational options we have because COVID really hit many families, and it was a very difficult time. And I just knew I needed to say yes to that specific assignment. I really felt like God was telling me, this is a specific assignment.
Mm.
And I say yes to that. But then when you say yes to something, you need to do something to be sustainable. And that forced me to hire a team. So I hired my
Ah,
team in 21 and the team is still with me. It's an amazing, there are three sisters from Mexico and they are my operational brain. So that was a huge change
are
because
they
I
in Mexico
discovered
or are they in America?
two are in Mexico and one is in Texas.
Look at you
And
just building an international
I know,
empire.
I love
Because
it.
I got employees in multiple countries, and I'm a consultant for this firm. Plus, I'm just serving homeschool kids all over the
yes,
world.
yes, but listen, it is amazing because I realized, oh wow, this is what it feels like when you hire people that can do what you cannot do. So
Yeah.
I
And so
discovered.
let me get
Go
this
ahead.
straight. It took 3 people to get you organized then. Is that what you're trying to say?
It takes a village to
Well,
raise Kareem.
listen,
Yes, it does.
one is the video editor, the other one is the administrator, and the other one is she's a Spanish teacher, and she helps me with lesson creator. But listen, this is what happened, and because this is just getting better. Listen to what happened. So when that happened, I discovered something that I didn't see before. I discovered my voice because before I only saw myself as a Spanish teacher. But when all of that got removed, and this is the largest organization, the homeschool organization in the world, I got a platform to speak. Now, I was not looking to speak, but I was forced to speak. So I recognized, wow, I have a voice, I have a message, and people want to hear what I have to say. That was so confusing to me because I never saw myself as a speaker. And so
as a
then this
as a
happened.
as a leader,
As,
Mhm.
okay,
you
yes,
are a leader in
Mhm.
this
a
field.
leader.
So somebody else already saw these gifts in you, and
Yes,
then you started to believe it.
Yeah.
Interesting how
yes.
that works.
Yes.
But then this happened. Then Shane sent me a message I think we were during Thanksgiving break. And he's like, hey, come to Florida. We're gonna be in an event speaking. And we want you to come. And I was like, really? Now listen, I always this type of ideas, crazy ideas, I say no. But for some reason, I was like, you know what? I want to go and meet Shane and Jocelyn again because I was very thankful for what was happening. And I have this new voice, a new thing. I was, like you were saying, I was in transition. And I say to him, can I bring Caleb, my son? And he's like, sure, bring Caleb. So when I went there and I met you guys there, my eyes were open because I saw Shane in a way that I never saw him before. He was a speaker. I thought Shane just coached, right? But I sat in that audience. He was talking to thousands of people. He was crafting a story. You were so careful about the words you chose, how even you dress. Everything was, to me, I was like, oh my God. And then I saw how you touch people's hearts and hopes and dreams with your words. And I
Mm.
was like, okay, this is different. I felt like, I knew I have a voice, but I didn't know how impactful my voice could be. And
Mhm.
when I saw you speaking, I was like, I need to start a podcast.
That's why. It's funny you say that because I was just on Pat Flynn's podcast again, and we talked about speaking, and he talked about like how did you like I have this whole brand now that we have called Story Pitch where we teach speakers like how to craft a career defining like presentation just because all the reps I have and I've been speaking now for like almost 5 years. It's getting close to 4 or 5 years. And I do put a lot of time and thought into every word that comes out of my mouth because you get X minutes on the stage. And
Mhm.
when you go out and you craft a message and you get to be able to like deliver that to people and speak like in that way, like it's a great responsibility to be able to like inspire them and make them move. But the
Mhm.
reason I can do that is not because I'm a genius. I think anyone who's been listening to this show long enough knows that.
I can attest to
Yeah, she's
that.
been with me 25 years. Genius has not popped out of her mouth
No,
one
that's
time.
not
I'm just
true.
kidding. But like the reason that I can do that is because of my podcast. Like I have recorded over 1,000 podcasts, whether it's as a guest or of my own. Like I've got like I think Flip Lifestyles in the 700s. Shane Samso's getting near 200. Like it's over 1,000 podcasts where I've had practice telling my story. Like having a
Mhm.
podcast or a platform, even if no one's listening, and if you want to speak, you're saying the words over, you're getting the reps that you can't get on stage because you can only be on stage so many times a month or a week or a
Mhm.
year. But a podcast, it helps you define your voice, refine your stories, craft your message. So when you walk out on stage, everybody's like, "You're a natural." And I'm like, tell that to the 10 years of blood, sweat, and tears that I've put into this thing, right? So, all right, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, but I wanted to just say one thing before we continue on. So, like, what I love about you coming down to the event, so we asked you to come down to the event as sort of like, it was sort of like to be a special guest of ours to show people like what could be possible. And so that was the purpose of us inviting you
and
down
like
to the event.
and to prove that these are real people, not just
Yeah.
random stock photo
Yeah.
that I picked for the presentation.
So like we've had a couple of people come out to events that he's spoken at, just to like show what is possible. But I love that like we were like, "Oh, we want to honor you and you're our special guest and like, we want you to be here for us." And you're like, "No, no, this was totally for me." So I love how that works, you know.
And it's not mutually exclusive. It's like we're all in this collaborating together.
Yeah, I
It,
think that's
it,
just beautiful.
it was amazing because I want to say that event completely shifted my mindset to be like,
Mm.
okay, I am a thoughtful leader and I have to be very careful with the words I say. I have to think about it and I have to put more time into my communication. I was busy creating lessons, doing a lot of things. I was busy in my business, but I was not doing I felt like the higher call that God had for me. So when I saw you, it completely opened my eyes, to this. And not only that, my son, Caleb wasn't a junior. He was still in high school when he went. He talked to everyone backstage. And when we come back from the trip, he said to me, "Mom, I am so proud of you." And
Oh man,
he's
that's
like,
amazing.
I admire you so much and thank you so much for introducing me to this world. And I want this. He said to me, I want this. I don't think he understood everything completely, but it was two days immersed in what it was possible. And just the fact that he come back and say, I'm so proud of you.
Oh man.
And it was completely change my son's life. So I just want to say, you guys, you have not only, you have this always talk about throwing the stone. I think you say ripple effects. And I just wanted to let you know that the ripple effects are in Mexico and Texas. I have students all around the world, South Africa, all around the country.
You're making me cry.
It's,
Right?
but
Yeah, it's just like a big weepy situation over here.
but it's the truth, and just the fact that my son admires me, you have no idea. I never saw that coming. I never saw that coming. And he was doing a business major, in finances, and he switched his major. Now he is doing business, entrepreneurship, sales, and technology. He has his own podcast and YouTube channel. And
Wow.
he's only 19.
It's incredible, man. Yeah.
That's
Can you
amazing.
imagine if someone had gave us these tools at 19 with all the want and get up and go that we could muster, man? I can't imagine. We didn't discover this. Was I 35, I think?
Yeah, I was like, when we left our jobs, I was 30, 33, I
Yeah,
think. So
33.
you would have been 35. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, gosh,
To
that
know this
kid
at like half that age would be
with
incredible.
the education and the example in his own house to follow it, it's just
Yeah.
remarkable.
And I love
Yeah.
just how all of this came together. It's like, oh, well, you want to come to this event? Yeah, sure. Can my kid tag along? Oh, yeah. It's just like all casual and nonchalant. But then,
Infinite yeses will always drive you forward.
So-
It doesn't matter what you do. It only matters that you do it, and
Yes.
just keep saying yes.
so say yes sometimes, it's like if you're
Yes.
out there listening to this and you're like, should I do this?
Yes.
Say yes.
The answer is
Not
yes.
And-
always, but
Yes, and I wanted to say that sometimes we want all the answers to do something. If we don't have all the answers, sometimes we get paralyzed. But one thing that I am discovering is that the stuff that you guys told me maybe 6 years ago, like you told me, like I remember one time we were talking, and Shane and you were like, you were like, you guys told me you should do webinars, and I was like, webinars? I don't want to. And then Shane is like, you should do a webinar every day. And I was like, you are loco, crazy. I am not going to do a live webinar every day or every week. Like, just like, you need to do something like constant, like a webinar. And I remember completely saying, no, this is a crazy advice. I love Shane, but he's running that. Now, guess what? Right now, I'm doing a live webinar every week.
6 years later. Oh, it's like this stuff is evergreen and still works.
yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, we were just discovering like yesterday, we were like, we're right back to the same thing that we started out doing.
Oh yeah, we always. Whenever I'm the shiny object of shiny object syndromes, and Jocelyn harnesses me sometimes. But like we actually stepped back from the online side because we built that live event company where you saw us speaking. So we were so immersed in that we built that, and it was great. It was remarkable.
And we still had all of our online business, of course.
Yeah. We were still podcasting and doing stuff like that, but it was kind of on the back burner. And then we were coming into this because we were going to the people instead of a webinar. I did a seminar. I was in a
Yes.
hotel with 300 people, like hanging out with them, right? But it's funny how like all these things, all these principles, like that I list in my book, it's the same things we were doing back then. I mean, does a tool change? Like, yeah, we're using Zoom now instead of
We use Chat
Skype or
GPT
whatever.
now, yes. But
Yeah, of course.
you
but
know, like sometimes it changes, but we're just realizing that like we've just come full circle.
The
It's like
fundamentals are the
we're
same.
going back to the same thing that we started with, and we're like,
we
I don't know,
always
we're
do
just
this.
crazy.
Yeah, but I think we get bored as humans, and we're like, I think when we succeed and things are working, we are like, we don't like that things are stable. We like to disrupt and we like to mess things up and try new things, or even go in a completely different direction and then come back.
And I think that could also be described as like challenging ourselves. I think that sometimes we like to challenge ourselves and just try something new sometimes. And I think that's okay,
It's a great mindset. Yeah.
And I think that it also reminds us of the things that we had, like the good things, and like what's beneficial and what's not. What are the benefits and what are the challenges?
That's actually something that we do now. I wish I had known this framework back when you started, but like I'd be teaching it to everybody. But like we don't look at I think a lot of entrepreneurs, especially starting out, look at things as good or bad, black or white, success or failure. Really, everything in your life is two buckets. It's challenges and benefits. Like it's like, okay, I could start a podcast. What are the challenges? What are the benefits? I could do a webinar. What are the challenges? What are the benefits? And all you're doing as an entrepreneur, every decision, every day is which bucket of challenges do I want to pick up? That's
because
it.
it's all challenging. Whatever choice you make, there's going to be some type of challenge that goes along with it, right?
For sure. Absolutely. For
Yes,
sure.
but you have to pick the type of challenge that is going to fit your lifestyle. So right now, I have a lifestyle where I can go anywhere. I have traveled all around the country. I have gone to Bolivia to speak, and my business is still there. And I was really busy speaking about homeschooling. But now I'm going back to my business. I have a funnel. My top funnel is going to be, is my podcast actually. And then I bring people to my webinar, which, you guys show me that a long time ago. Now, don't ask me why I never follow step by step, because that's not how my brain operates. So
It's fine.
Hey, we don't
You
mind.
know what? The blueprint's always there. You can do it in order, out of order, whatever you need. You just go in and get the book off the shelf and go ask questions. And
But
support.
you trusted yourself to know the right thing to do. And for you, it was the right thing.
And the right timing for you.
The
And that's
timing.
important.
Yes. And so I have a team that proved to me that they can take care of everything. So I am doing only what I'm supposed to be doing. So
Amazing.
I am the face, I'm speaking, I have the podcast, and I am selling. And I started really, really focusing like in April. It started with the podcast and the webinars, and my income went up. It's like, okay, so it's working.
If we do things consistently, it works.
It works.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Who knew? What is your podcast called?
My podcast is called Becoming Bilingual, the Art of Speaking Spanish.
That's incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw
Check that out, people.
Yeah. If you want some bilingualness in your life, don't learn from anybody but Karim. Seriously.
And I am
Number one.
speaking, I learned so much from you guys about the mindset part, right? So like you're saying, we know what we're supposed to do, but sometimes our mindset is not there. So I am tackling, there are so many podcasts that speak about how to say things, how to use grammar. But at the end of the day, I meet so many people that tell me I studied Spanish for many years and I never speak the language, so I am really focusing on speaking Spanish because it's a human skill. It's not an academic subject.
Yes.
And I think that the power of connection, all these things, actually, there are so many changes happening right now with AI, how it's changing the way you learn a language. But, I'm not afraid of that because AI will not replace parents. AI will not replace children.
No, that's exactly right.
We need still caring, loving, passionate teachers that care about learning and connection. So I am dedicating my life to be an advocate for that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I dare AI to raise these teenagers is all I can say.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Let alone teach them Spanish. Oh my gosh, man. 15 and 13 is rough.
It's a lot.
It is rough, people. No, we got good kids. They're pretty amazing, actually. We need to put them in her Spanish program.
Yeah, for sure.
They're in the process of learning guitar right now. That's what they're.
Whoa.
They both got obsessed with guitar last summer, and like that's their thing to do. And of course, we're like, okay, we got them some lessons like in real life that got them started. But now we're like, they're like online learning now to like play guitar. Like you can truly teach and do anything on the internet. And I think what you said is like critical for everyone's success that's listening to this. AI will not replace us. It will not. We've been trying to find ways to use AI, and we're using it for a lot of strategic planning.
Well, you said as a tool daily.
It's a tool. But
yes.
The Flip Lifestyle community has always been a community. It's a place where Shane and Jocelyn actually are around, and it's humans doing the same thing. Because on those days where you're about to send an email and you're about to give up, you need someone to write you back or see you leaving out of the door to say, whoa, we're in this boat together and you just put your oar down. Okay. So get over here and sign. And that's what you create in your community and your program is that human connection, that human feeling. There's someone actually teaching me how to do this. And of course we use videos and we scale and we do all that stuff. But like that whatever percentage point it is of that human connection, build an online business around that. That's why coaching and memberships are still crushing, is because it's not just courses or anything else. It's like, oh, there's other humans in here with me, and AI is not going to fix that. It's not going to. I think it's actually not worse. That's not the right word. I think people crave it more now post-COVID because we were all alone for that entire year, and we know now that our devices aren't going to save us when we're alone. It's the other humans that we're in contact with, and they better be like-minded, personal growth, forward-thinking people, or that's just going to pull you back,
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you have to find a community. You can't do this alone. Like I tried being alone, and it does not work. You need a community. And we know we're still with the Voxy ladies that we met, and inside the
And we have a
flip side.
podcast about that. We'll link it in the show notes where we interviewed they call themselves the Voxy ladies because they use Voxer to talk. Like they created a little pod outside of the forum. Just, there's a big group and then they wanted their own little thing.
And we had a chat with them. I guess it's maybe been a couple of years ago.
It's been a minute, man.
We had a chat
We'll
with
reshare it and we'll put it in the show.
So I want to make sure that I understand. So, from that time that you started working with the other company and you hired the ladies to help you within your company through now, is that what you're still doing? So are you still doing the speaking? You still have the podcast and you still have your homeschool business?
Yes, more than ever. Because one thing that I want to say, this has not happened to me, but my daughter, she's about to graduate. She is going to be an engineer next year.
Amazing.
And she told me, Mom, my friends that graduated last year, they cannot find a job. These are young kids with a lot of skills, with a college degree, engineers, and they cannot find a job. She did a couple of internships and she told me, Mom, people are being go left and right. So I am with this organization, but at the same time, and still I am operating in my own terms.
Heck yeah.
I still are homeschool mom. I still have one more to go. She's in high school now. And I travel, but it complements what I'm doing because when I travel and I speak about homeschooling, I also get to speak about my story. I talk about that I have a Spanish program. And guess what happened? People find me in the internet and this organization has given me a platform where homeschoolers are finding my program because I'm talking about my program because it's part of my story.
That's what speaking is. Like, speaking is extremely insanely powerful because, one, you deserve to be up there. But two, people don't know why you're up there. They're like, that has to be an expert if they're on that stage because for some reason they let that person have the microphone. So you get the platform, you get the stage, you get to say whatever you want. And if you can inspire people and generate emotion and show them what you do, of course they're going to follow up and they're going to find it. And I want to say something. I don't know if we've ever truly clear. I think people in the community get this. I'm not sure if people outside get it. Like we believe in the membership model because it's just nice to have a few hundred people paying you every month. It's predictable. And when we came out of our teaching jobs, one thing we wanted to create was a paycheck. We wanted to create and sign our own paycheck. And the membership model did that, right? But we're not membership exclusive. Like we have coaching, I speak, we do other things as well. We got a book coming out that'll sell, copies. So like we're always looking for layers to our business that fit into our lifestyle, but also that promote it, even if it's in partnership with other people. The last company that we started, the seminar company, was in partnership with some other companies, and we built this huge, amazing thing together, but we still had our thing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And you want that multiple streams of income, those multiple paths. You want to keep saying yes to those opportunities because, Lord, if anybody will give me a microphone, I'll go talk.
That's the truth.
Anybody looking for a speaker, just write me down, Shane@ShaneSams.com, and I'll tell you how much it costs to get me there. Okay? So, let's do it.
But also, I remember your story, your original story about you being in a situation where you did not have the freedom to choose for your children. And I never want to, never lose my freedom to choose. And I feel like as long as you have a job, which is good, like I say, I have a specific assignment. Though that there were not when they invite me to be part of their team as a consultant, there were not that many Hispanics homeschooling here. I have been homeschooling for the last 17 years, and not many Hispanics that English is their second language. So I'm bringing a lot of value to the company, and they're also bringing value to my life. So it's it's something that is paying the work.
Collaboration, not competition.
Yes, collaboration.
Baby.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
But last year, it was very clear to me that no matter what, companies come and go, but your company is always there. It's like the thing that will sustain you. And I recommit it and say, I have a team that is doing a lot of things for me, but they cannot sell for me. They can't.
Okay.
There are things that they cannot do. And I went back all in with podcasts and webinars.
Yeah,
absolutely
for
amazing.
sure. Well, I have one question for you that I'm curious about. So going back to the Kareem who was like, I'm going to find something to work out online. That version of you that was like, I want to have more freedom in my life. And I'm just curious, like, what does that look like for you now?
Like,
That you're at kind of, I won't say the end of this journey, but like you're well into this journey. Like, what does that look like for you? What did you want then, and how have you reached those goals
can I
now?
add some context to that real quick? Like, a lot of people have asked me, including Pat, when I was talking to him about naming the book. And Pat, everyone was like, "You're totally going to name the book "Flip Your Life," right? That's what your name it is, "Flip Your Life." Like everybody wanted me to name that book, but it didn't. It didn't feel right
Mm.
because here's a spoiler alert. You got to read to get there, but the last three words of the book are "Flip Your Life." Okay, but you got to go read the rest of them. But we named it "Earn More, Live More"
Mm.
because over the years, what I have realized, and I think I intuitively knew this in when I was a teacher, is that one, money makes the world go round. Like it is the way that humans exchange energy with each other. Right? It's you cannot escape that you need to make money.
Mhm.
And if you can earn more yourself, you don't have to rely on anyone else. And if you earn your own income, you get to live more because you get to choose how you spend your time. Like, and making money online for us right now in this point in history is like the greatest opportunity in the history of the world that we get to even do this. It's preposterous that we get to make money on our phones. It's really stupid, but that lets you build a life of freedom. You get to define that. That freedom is the flipped lifestyle. When you flip that world upside down, you get to pick what you do every
Mm.
day. So, like, how does your life compare to then? Now that you do earn more, you do live more, and you're living the flipped lifestyle. Like, what does that look
You
like?
know, one of the things that I can think about is that when you have very limited income and salary, sometimes you're just surviving, right? And you're counting every penny. And I'm not saying that you should know administrate your money. My husband, this is why I'm married to my husband. He does all of that. I'm the spender. But what I,
He's the Scrooge over counting his
yes,
coins.
yes. But one thing that I realize now is that I don't worry about money. Like I
Mm,
don't worry, like this feeling that you know, having to worry about how you going to be paying your mortgage, how you going to be paying for college. Like when I was writing that email to say goodbye to my dream, it's because I really thought that going back to having a full-time job teaching was going to give me what I needed to pay for college for my kids. We never imagined that we were going to be able to buy houses to invest and then being able to sell the houses and being able to invest in our retirement home that we have and it's almost pay off. So, all those things, how you make decisions is very different when you have that extra income
yeah.
versus when you don't have that extra income, you are reacting to whatever you can. In when I started my journey, really all I wanted was to replace my teaching income. And this is why I follow you guys because you say we replace our income. And I was like,
Right.
this is
That's the
exactly what I
first
want.
step. The first step is to
That's the
replace
first
your
step.
income, and then
And
you
I
earn
was
more.
and I was not thinking about wealth. I was not thinking about that. My I have so much limitations, when it comes to wealth, that I never imagined the life that my children are living. I think the most joyful part for me is seeing the life that my children are living.
Mm,
That for me is it's like they are having such a better life and the reason why they have a better life, of course they have challenges, of course they are not perfect, they have some issues, you know
We all
but
do.
we all
It's
do.
fine.
It's fine.
yes,
Yeah, it's
i
good.
don't want i don't want to start talking about that, but what I'm saying is that we were able to build a strong foundation with my husband because we had that extra income. And
Mm,
that extra income now is feeling and looking like could be our income.
yeah.
One of our dreams now I'm gonna tell you this because I know you guys may understand this, is to kind of retire my husband to work for me. So we
Heck
talk about
yeah.
it.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So now if
That's
you
one of my favorite
agree-
goals that people set inside the community because we have a goal setting course. And
Yes.
one of my favorite ones is retire my spouse. And whenever this happens and people write to us and that happens, I'm like, man, that's just like double the freedom, double the fun. Once your
Yes.
spouse is at home with you, you can like, hey, you want to go to the gym? Hey, you want to go to Starbucks? Hey, let's go. Yeah.
Yes, and that's now for me, I see how things are going, the way I establish my business, the way I'm scaling, because there's a difference between growing, and scaling. I feel like right
Sure.
now, my I have set my program and adding a Spanish 3 and adding a Spanish 4 to the membership. So it's a complete program. I have parents that, I'm developing the second year for elementary because parents is working. The kids are speaking Spanish and they are asking me for a third year, but I am not alone. So I'm going into this creative mode. I want to add songs to my elementary program. I want to write books. So I can dream now and let my creative juices go up because I am no busy in the business, working, doing
Yeah.
all these details that I used to do. So I'm excited, for what is coming. I am 50 and I just feel like I am living my best life right now.
Incredible. And I have a funny feeling that you're just getting started. I have no idea what this podcast will look
Yeah.
like in 5 years when we bring you we need to just check in with Kareem every year. That's going to become a
Absolutely, yeah.
staple on the Flip Lifestyle podcast. It's just to let you come in and breathe your Spanish sunshine into this place as much as possible and inspire people to like, go
Absolutely.
take to the next
Well,
level.
I want to thank you, not just for saying yes to us, but I want to thank you for saying yes to you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I'm like over here crying if you're watching this video, but yeah, like thank you for saying yes and thank you for sticking with us and like thank you for communicating us when you needed somebody, communicating with us when you needed someone. And I'm curious, if there's somebody out there right now who's listening and like maybe they have their email drafted to us. It's like, I'm giving up. I can't do it anymore.
Or maybe, yeah, and they didn't even send it. Or like they started and stopped or didn't even start at all.
Like
Yeah.
what would you say to them? I'm just curious. Like what would your advice be to them, or just what would you say to someone who is maybe they haven't started or maybe they've started and think this isn't for me, I can't do this. What would you say to them?
I think that I will tell them one of the questions you guys told me one time in one of the members' call. You guys asked me, what do you want? I think nobody asked me that before because I always was reacting to, to what people needed, my product. And then I remember that night when you guys say, what do you want? I think make that clear. What do you want? And then do what I did. Join the community.
I mean,
we did not pay Kareem to say that. I promise.
I think part of it is even being told that you're allowed to want things,
People don't know that.
I think that there are a lot of people out there who maybe don't think that they're allowed to want things or don't really ever think about it because it's like you said, they're always busy taking care of someone else. So like we're all allowed to want things, and that's not necessarily a selfish thing. It's just like what you might want is more time and freedom to be with your family. And that's not selfish.
Yeah. You get one shot at this life, people. I mean, you better.
None of us are getting any younger.
And none of us are getting out alive.
Oh, don't say that. You guys are getting younger. I'm telling you, it's like you guys.
This is why we had you on the show.
Yeah, you guys were not like that when I met you. You guys are getting younger.
Are you saying we looked old when you found us?
No,
like,
these
old wise people look good. I'll just go learn from them. They've clearly been around a while.
We are kind of dinosaurs in the online world. I'm not going to lie. Like we've been around for a long time.
Oh yeah, we've been around for a while now. Like people probably like, did you have internet? I think my kids have literally been like, did you have internet back then? Like, how did you start this business? But
I think that the reason why I say to the people join the community because I do sometimes we ask one question in the community and that one answer is all you need to apply what you're trying to do. I remember one time I asked, guys, I want to do a webinar. What title should I put? And Jocelyn, you gave me a title. And I was like, wow, Jocelyn, that's really good. And I still using that title and it's making me a lot of money. And I'm not changing the title.
That is such an amazing statement because like you talk about me telling my story on stage. Like honestly, I tell the same story everywhere I go. Like, and I've been doing it for 10 years. And like, even something like that, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. Like, this is not, you do not have to learn new things all the time. We do. You do not have to like reinvent the wheel all the time. Sometimes we do. But sometimes you just find what works and you do it over and over and over again and you build the life that you want.
And it's not that I'm so wise or like have all the answers or anything like that. Honestly, what it is because we've said yes so many times to like going to live events, going to training courses, joining other people's communities. And like I soak in all of this information. We have spent probably over $100,000 in like training and education and travel for us to learn things. And that's the benefit of being part of a community is that you get all of that collective knowledge and wisdom is not just us. It's also from all of the other people who have invested in their own education and their wisdom and their learning and all those types of things, and we're all working together to be like, hey, why don't you try out this? Or it's just trying things and doing things.
People think it's the course that's going to fix it. The course is good, it's guidance, and it gives you a plan to follow. We need that. But where people make the most headway is when they show up on a member call or they ask a question in the forum, and half the time I get in there, somebody else has already answered it because it's all, I don't have a monopoly. I don't know everything. Jocelyn doesn't know everything, but the community can figure it out, and you just have to actually use it to do it.
And we're really getting involved like hardcore again, like this is sort of like a reopening of sorts for us. Like we're getting back in there. We're going to be answering questions. We're going to be doing live events. Like we're really excited about this.
We have 4 years of new wisdom and new stories, like from all the other things that we've just done to start sharing. And it's taken us a while to get to the place where we're ready to start talking about all this new stuff that we've learned. But like that's where we're going to be.
Journey, like we've gone through some kind of hard things in the last few years, especially like the last year, I think.
Yeah.
And we're coming out on the other side of it, and we have all of those like life things to share. It's not just business; it's also about our mindset.
I will explain all of our scars so you guys don't get cut.
Exactly.
But this is so true because you guys don't hold back. You guys say things the way they are. And I do appreciate that from you guys. I love those, when you guys are like, we have an episode update. I am there. I want to listen what's the update because I know you guys are going to tell hot stuff like, chisme.
Caliente.
Caliente. Yeah, it's like, I want to hear it because you guys don't, sugar, how you guys say? Sugarcoat?
Sugarcoat, yep.
No sugar.
Sugarcoat. Yes, yeah. And I think that is so important. I follow a lot of gurus too, but I feel like I always come back home. Like I was like, okay, I need a game. Like I want to feel like, even when I hear your podcast, guys, it's like you guys are there. Like your voice talking in my head. It's like, what was Jocelyn and Shane say?
Well, you have now met us in person, so I hope that you can say that we're the same people in person as we are online.
You guys are the same. You are real person. And I am so happy to see you guys doing better. And I love seeing the kids. They're so big. I remember in those member calls when the kids were little, they were fighting in the back and you were like, I broke up.
Yes, we were in survival mode.
It makes you feel good. They're still fighting in the back. It's just in the back seat in the back house. And we just have, they're a little more like coherent so we can lock them out of doors now. But
But this is what I needed. I needed to see that, you're building a business, a home, because you guys wanted family first.
Mm.
And it shows. And it showed through your member calls. It showed through what's happening. When you guys needed to close something, change something, you did it because you were taking care of your mind. You were taking care of the kids. You taking care of your family. I remember you guys, when Shane, you went through the health scare, it was so scary. And you share. And, I so appreciate you guys being so transparent and real. And I appreciate you guys seeing me. And because I honestly, I never thought anybody cared, about my story. And I just, the way you guys always been with me, I so appreciate because you guys care.
Well, God willing, we will always be with you.
Yeah.
So this is a journey. It's not a destination. We've all got stuff to do.
Like
still,
we see you all, like every person that's listening to this. And when you reach out to us, like we see you, we want to know you as a person, and we want you to believe in yourself, and we want you to say yes to yourself like Karim did.
All right. So Karim, we'll wrap this up with, we love you. You're
Mhm.
absolutely one of the most inspiring human beings I've ever met in my entire life. And we're just very grateful that you came on today to share your story. And I can't wait for everybody to read more about your story in my new book. It's going to be awesome.
Gracias, gracias. I love you guys. Te quiero mucho, mucho. Los amo.
Muchos besos.
All right, guys, that wraps up our interview with Karim. And oh my gosh, if you want to go see a grown man cry, head over to our YouTube channel right now and you can watch the video of this Flip Lifestyle podcast. She tore me up, man. But man, what a remarkable story of somebody who had everything working against her. I mean, I know that we all have obstacles in our life that we've got to jump over or break through. I know we all have fears that are opportunities to be brave, and we got to go out and we've got to overcome those fears. I know we all have insecurities. We may have childhood trauma. We may have stuff in our background, stuff in our past that make us say, why me? Who's going to listen to me? Who's going to go with my idea? Who can I really help? But look at Kareem's story for inspiration. Whatever ideas you have, go do them. There are people out there waiting for your support and for your help in the business that you create. Your family is waiting for you to go out and do what Kareem did, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it is, to keep going and build the life that you want, because you get to want the life you want. And we know that you have something inside you. We believe in you that you can go out and build an amazing online income and build a freedom life for your family too. That's what the flipped lifestyle really is. We take advantage of the tools we have to earn more than we ever thought possible so we can control our time, live more, and change our family's future. And we'd love to help you just like we helped Kareem. Head over to flippedlifestyle.com. You can check out the Flip Lifestyle community. You can check out all of our free resources and all the great content that we have over at Flipped Lifestyle. It's FLIPPED lifestyle.com. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. If you love the podcast, go leave us a 5-star review so that more people hear the word and can get out there and they can build things for themselves too. And we'd love to see you sometime in our community, whether you've never started, but you've had an idea and you want to get after it and you want to try it out. Maybe you put that dream down for a while because life got hard. Well, it's time to pick it back up. Whatever we can do to help you and your family, we'll do it just like we did for Kareem. That's all the time we have for this week's Flipped Lifestyle podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, get out there, take action, and do whatever you can for as long as you can to flip your life. We'll see you then. Hola.
Hola. Buenas tardes.
Two of you? Oh my God. I love you, Shane, but you know,
But
I love
Jocelyn's here
Jocelyn.
too.
Yeah. So I've been just kind of like jumping in and doing some podcasts for people that I just really love. And
Oh,
yeah, sometimes I can't do them because I have to go and pick up my kids or something. So if someone's listening to this, I didn't come on. It's not because I don't love you.
That's right.
But I do love you, Kareem.
B-roll. Put this on the B-roll.
well, I am here to support you guys. You have completely changed my life.